Hello, America, and to our dwindling friends around the world, welcome to the Common Sense Show. We're glad you're here, no matter where you're viewing us or listening to us from. We're really happy that you are here. My name is Dave Hodges. This is the Common Sense Show, and we are the show that's freeing America one enslaved mind at a time. We serve God, family, country. We want to tell you what's coming, what's happening, so you can best prepare for your future. There are some things that aren't going to be in favor of the middle class. And you already know that 65% of you can't afford a $500 car repair bill. So we are trying to really cater our presentations to that group so we can help you do a little better and weather the storm in a more, let's put it this way, fashionable way so you're not on the downside always looking up. Anyway, glad you're here. Our guest today in this segment is MARYANNE McADORY, and she is the Chief Operating Officer of, listen, Ironhawk Financial. And you hear me talk a lot about them and the great opportunities. And I wanted her to come back on, and we wanted to share some thoughts with MARYANNE, get her to respond, and then take the mystery out. What's it like to work with Ironhawk? Now, I have told you many times that you'll get no pressure. If they can't help you, they're going to tell you pretty quickly because they don't want to waste your time. They certainly don't want to waste their time. And they may point you in a direction that might be more beneficial for you. If they can help you, you got to be patient because this is a process. But this is the way the rich used to make a lot of money and no one else knew about it. And it's guys like Joanne Lombardi and MARYANNE who have cracked the code on how to do this and make it available to the unelite, if there's such a term. So we're going to have fun talking about this today. MARYANNE, I want to welcome you to the show. It's great to have you on. And by the
Thanks,
way,
Dave.
there's a another event. I don't know if it's at State Farm or one of the other big venues in Phoenix this month. Are you doing that event?
I'm not doing this month's. I am traveling to help out my fiance's family for the month, but we will be back out at the event in Scottsdale in October. So it'll be fun
Okay.
to be there. And I'm hoping that you'll join us for a pop-in visit as usual.
Yes, I'm definitely going to be there. MARYANNE, as we talked about before we went on the air, I just wanted to lay this out a little bit in review. My audience has already heard a good portion of this today, but President Trump has options when it comes to fixing this almost $40 trillion debt that could leave us in absolute economic devastation. And I believe he's going to be successful. And I'm not going to go into all the details that I've gone into before, but essentially, um, what he's doing is basically inflating away the debt, and the people are going to make money on it at the upper levels. In other words, the banks, because they're the source of origination of money, and then the elite corporate insiders who hold assets, like real estate and so forth and so on. And then there's everybody else, which is probably about 99.99% of my audience. And you're going to take a bath over the next 10 years. Now, eventually, I think we're going to get the debt down to manageable levels. We've done it before in World War II, right after World War II. And I think Trump's plan will eventually work. But it is really big pain for the majority of this country. And I look at what you guys do at Ironhawk Financial as a buffer for this for people that get in. And you have something that you call buffers that can actually help make you recession proof to stuff like this. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. So we did chat a little bit before jumping on here, and a fun rabbit hole for your listeners to go down would be the term asset buffer. You can kind of think of it as almost a financial shock absorber. So that's a asset or a holding that you have in place that you can utilize when the market goes down. Okay. So it's going to keep you from having to sell off other investments in a down market, therefore losing money. So, and this is exactly what we specialize in. So we're not saying you've got to move everything that you've got because, God only knows what's coming down the pipeline into our strategies. But this is a way to help you almost, like I said, absorb the shock of what you're going to get hit with coming.
Yes.
So this is a safer place to put some of your assets. And at that point, you would borrow from those in a down market versus selling off anything else.
That's right. And I don't know that inflation becomes totally irrelevant, but it certainly does lessen the shock, as you said. And this is one of the things that really attracted me to what you guys do at Iron Hawk Financial. And when Joe Lombardi, the CEO of Iron Hawk, has been on my show a few times and he's talked about this, he goes, Dave, it's really pretty much recession proof. And so let me ask you this too before we jump into some real specific questions about what it's like to work with Ironhawk. But when you have people that come to you, this used to be the tool of the really rich. They'd put, a lot of assets into this and they would grow it to exponential proportions. And it's how I like to say this, billionaires to trillionaires. And now it used to be millionaires to billionaires. And we certainly can't guarantee that for people coming in. We can tell you, though, that you're going to greatly increase the volume of your wealth. Can people who have maybe more modest investment, can they benefit from this, or is this just for the people that have a lot of money laying around?
So it's definitely not for the people that have a lot of money. Those people, I mean, the things that we can do and the strategies that we come up with are phenomenal. And they're much of the reason why I have so much fun doing what I do alongside my brother Joe. But even, the everyday person like you and me, Dave, there's strategies that we can learn to help safeguard, to help preserve what we do have, and to help maybe build a little bit stronger moving forward. So no, you don't have to have a ton of money to do this. Many of our clients have, several million. And like I said, those are the ones that we have a good old time doing a bunch of different things for. But many of our clients say, I'm just a little nervous. I want to make sure that I have a good foundation for what's going forward. And that's where we take the time to really educate them about some different options that, quite honestly, the government really didn't want us to know about.
Yeah, that's true. IRS code 7702, probably the most obscure part of the IRS code. And this is what really allows the wealthy to make a lot of money without paying hardly any tax, if any at all.
Right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. One of the things that really struck me is two people in particular from my audience came to Ironhawk, benefited greatly from it, and now they're some of your top agents.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite stories for sure. One of my earlier on clients, because so I joined Ironhawk a couple of years ago. My brother Joe, who's the owner founder, has been in the business for over 20 years. So he's really the brains and the mastermind of much of what we do. I am quickly learning as we go. But so one of the gentlemen that is now one of our best agents joined us not too long ago, but he started as a client. Actually, let me back up. He started as a Dave Hodges listener. So that's how he found us and reached out. And I reached out to him and gave him the rundown about what we do. He had come into a little bit of an inheritance and wanted to know, some options as far as what to do with it. So we then spent, I would say, probably 2 to 3 months with him and his wife, educating them and deciding what's going to be best for them, laying out options before we moved forward. And when all was said and done, he had learned so much and loved the strategy and the concepts that he got his license, and now he works side by side with us. You, in fact, have met him at a couple of the home shows. So
That's
he's
right. Yeah.
definitely,
And
yeah,
you
one of
guys,
my favorite people to work with.
oh yes, it's fun. And he accompanied you to Vegas. This is a funny anecdote.
Yep.
Sarah Westall and I were doing a commercial for a health industry uh, treatment situation, and they're wonderful people. And so we were at this really fancy studio up in Vegas a couple of weeks ago. Sarah and I and Scotty Sachs is the director, and I zoomed by Marianne, and because I had to go to the bathroom, we were on screen for quite a while, and I didn't even see her. I come back, and now I can't see them when I walk by, and Scotty walks up to me and says, "You got visitors." And I walk out, and there you are. You came all the way to Vegas to see that audio and video production. That was absolutely incredible. Um, are you planning to do more things like that with Ironhawk to get the word out?
Oh my gosh, yes. That was such a fun day. I didn't know what to expect. So Jason came from California. I came up from Arizona. So we drove in that morning and got to sit in and watch. The three of you are such a team. I have loved getting to know you and Scotty and Sarah. So we do have planned, actually, keep an eye out for. Joe is going on to meet with Sarah Westall on the 15th is when they'll be filming and meeting. So I can't wait to
Awesome.
see that. That's going to be exciting. And then I believe in August, I think we're going to be lining up with Scotty as well. So a lot of fun things coming down the pipeline. And I like the fact that we're able to get the word out for Ironhawk through some different venues too, or, podcasters even, because you all have such great listeners and great questions as far as challenging us to how we can help people, which is our main goal.
Well, you couldn't have chosen two better people to bring into the umbrella than, well, Scotty and Sarah. I've worked with both of them for years. They are awesome. And I say this for the audience benefit. They know and trust these two people as they're part of what I do often, and they like them. And they've looked at this and they said, this is absolutely a fantastic opportunity. Um, when I think about where I want to take this, um, I just want to say we don't want to scare people into doing this, but people, you've heard me talk today about the plan to inflate away the debt. That's inflate away what you own. And to me, this should be the number one reason why you want to do this. Um, how widespread is your operation now? Do you treat, sorry, you're not a doctor. Do you service uh, dozens, hundreds, thousands? Where are you at in your growth?
Gosh, I would say Joe himself, he's definitely got thousands of clients. We're
Wow.
at the level now, through our joint venture as brother and sister in the hundreds, and we're just having a great time for sure. We're nationwide, so we have agents all over the country. We're able to help in every state too. So we are appointed and licensed in every state. And but the thing that I like most about us at Ironhawk is it that kind of sounded like we're huge and we're big, but we have the select right quality of people. It's not a matter of quantity of as far as agents or team players. Would you could use that terminology in our firm, but it's quality people. We make sure that we've got agents that are on the same, how do I say, wavelength, as us as far as caring and listening and serving others. So if they're not, they're just not for us. And that's as simple as it gets. And then the other thing that we have too is we make sure to align ourselves with people that do other than what we do. So we've got a gentleman that is amazing at teaching you how to pay off your mortgage sooner and save you money in that aspect. We've got a genius crypto guy on board. He's also a life insurance, he's life and health, uh, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's interesting that
My
you just
mind.
mentioned that too, because um, they're talking about the winners and buying assets. They're mentioning crypto
Mhm.
as one of them. Do you think that crypto is being kept artificially low because they're planning on gathering up a lot of it, or they are, and they're waiting for it to explode in value?
I'll tell you what, with my limited knowledge of crypto, I would think that you're right on the money there. And the person to talk to about that and pick his brain is right here within Ironhawk Financial. So that would be a great question for him. He would talk to you about it all day. We're starting to tie in some of the products and the offerings that we do into the crypto field. So that's an interesting thing coming too. But I'm pretty sure everything's going to be headed that
Well, if you look at it,
direction.
Trump did
And that's just my guess. Say that
yeah,
again.
I got this in my notes here. Executive Order 14233. Okay. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve done by Donald Trump. And they've got 328,000 Bitcoins in reserve now, and they plan to build on that. Then they got the Stablecoin Act, from the Genius Act. So, I mean, clearly, when we're talking about inflating away the debt, they're also talking about to the wealthy, here's how you can make money in assets, and this is one of the asset. And clearly, Trump enacted this
Yep,
to attract their support. Um,
absolutely. And I was just jotting super quick notes on that because that's something I would love to talk to Tony about. And, I'll get back to you. I'll give you a call or a text and give you some more information after I speak with him or connect the two of you. But boy, would he have a good old time talking to you about that.
Let me ask you this. Do you think your Bitcoin guy would come on the show?
In an instant. Tony
Let,
loves to talk and share, and he's so knowledgeable. So he makes it pretty interesting.
okay.
So yeah, we'll definitely set you up with Tony.
We definitely, because folks, listen to me. This is going to be one of the asset classes that wins. And just leave your money in the bank, you're going to be a big loser. And I just simple example, hey, you had $100 in the bank, and let's say inflation reaches double digits, which I'm sure it's going to. Just the war alone is going to do that with what's happening with oil. So let's say 10%. Okay, well, your value of your $100 is now $90 the next year, and that's only 1 year. And I said this is a 10-year process, and we know that from 1946 to 1956 when they did this before. So this is something you really, really need to consider. Um, when you deal with people, okay, your typical broker, okay, is what's in it for me? I want to rush you into something. I can make my quick return. To heck with you and how you do. It doesn't really matter to me. I've made my money up front. Okay. All right. How do you want the client to feel when the meeting's over and when you're done negotiating?
So, I was just on with a new client yesterday. It was our first Zoom, and Jason joined me, actually. And at the end of it, she said, "Oh, I'm so excited." And it made my whole day just because she finally felt like she had someone that was hearing her and helping. And what she's looking at doing doesn't even have to do part of it, doesn't even have to do with us. It has to do with a whole nother, maybe this would work for you. And we can probably find you someone that you can trust to do it with. So when I get off of a Zoom or a phone call with a client and they tell me, God, I feel so much better. Thank you. Or what a blessing it was to connect with you and your brother. Then I know I've done my job.
I got to say something about your brother, Joe Lombardi, the CEO. When I'm done talking to him, I mean, he'd have been a great football coach because because when I'm done talking to Joe, I feel like I go out and climb a mountain in half the
Yeah.
time. His inspiration and enthusiasm are just contagious.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of the people that deal with Joe walk away from a meeting really feeling inspired.
They really do. They just, more so than inspired, I would say they feel heard. We never, ever, ever come at any kind of meeting with the thought of, I'm going to sell you something. It is just simply, I'm going to understand you and figure out how I can help. We literally wake up each day. We're very blessed and fortunate as far as, the money that we're able to make. But honestly, I'm telling you, we wake up in the morning and say, how can we serve others? How can we make things a little bit easier? Have somebody laugh a little bit, make them feel a little bit more comfortable. The financial world, it's not always a fun thing to do. And a lot of times people make it quite stuffy. Joe and I will get on there, and well, all of our agents too. We'll overshare. You'll learn more about us than you ever even probably want to know, and then us about you. So by the time we're done setting up your strategy, or even not, there's been times that we've spent 4, 5, 6 Zooms with clients. I think when we decide for that, or we decide together that this isn't the best for them, they should go another route.
Yeah,
We have friends. We have friends that we check in with on the regular.
that was my next question. From the time that someone goes to dhawk.com, okay, and leaves their contact information, and you reach out and make contact, how long is the process before it comes to a conclusion?
Okay, so I would say anywhere between 6 weeks and 6 months, quite honestly, depending on what they've got going on. I just this week finished one half of what we're doing for one of our clients that we started in February. And this is because he really likes to dissect everything and inspect and research and re-research. So we take it at your pace. Some people say, you know what, I just want a simple XYZ and we're in and out in a couple of weeks, with the paperwork and that kind of stuff. And then we just follow up and check in every few months. Other people really want a full dissection of what they've got going on, and we'll spend as much time as they want. So the first conversation I would have with you as a client, Dave, I would introduce myself. let you know a little bit about what we do at Ironhawk and let you know that this is not a quick process. We're going at your pace. So you let me know if you want to meet every couple of days or every other week, however long you need to absorb it, go down your own rabbit holes and come up with your own questions. We're ready when you are.
6 weeks to 6 months. But that what that tells me is you're extra careful. You're cautious for your client, but you're also obeying all the federal regulations.
Absolutely. Extra careful. You are right about that. And the thing that I enjoy doing most, like I said, Joe's been at this for many years. So he's very quick to know a great strategy for a client after hearing their snapshot. I, however, have a little bit more learning to do. So I get a client and they'll tell me what they're hoping to achieve. And it's like, okay, hold my beer, Dave. Now I'm going on a mission to figure out how to put this puzzle together for them. Essentially, it's fun, to if they say I need this by the time I'm 65 and I want this amount of money, but this is all I have to start with, I'll work backwards until I can say, guess what? We figured it out between X, Y, Z, and F. Now I've got you set, and this is the fully structured plan.
Yeah, I know how long and involved it is. I've talked to, well, first of all, I've talked to Jason about his experience with that. And it's really interesting to
Yeah.
hear how cautious you are. I wanted to ask you this question before we close. This is really, I think, important. When people come to you, something is motivating them to come to you. Now, today, I think I've given motivation in terms of what's coming is inflating away the debt and you're going to lose. Okay. But what are people really concerned about that when you first deal with them and you hear about why they're there and what they're hoping to do?
A lot of time people say, I just don't feel comfortable with what's going on in the world, and I don't want to keep all of my money in traditional banking. So that's something that we hear nonstop. The other thing also is I'm behind the eight ball, and now I'm 55 or I'm 65, and I'm kind of scared. I don't have the things in place that I'm hearing that my friends have in place or anything like that. So that's generally, two, I think, of the most heard things, and they're nervous and they're scared. And unfortunately, I feel like, especially our generation, we heard go to work, put money in your 401k, retire, then you're done. So it's like one little avenue of what we were supposed to do. Well, come to find out that doesn't work out so well, and we end up losing most of our money later on. So what we try to really do is just hear what you're worried about and then educate you on the options. So, and it costs nothing but your time. So then this is usually what I tell all of the people that I speak to. If you've got an hour, if you've got the time and you're interested or you're nervous and want to learn anything, pick my brain, pick Joe's brain, get my crypto guy on the line, my mortgage guy on the line, anybody that you want. We don't charge. We're trying to scream from the rooftops how we can help and educate people. And it costs nothing but a little bit of your time. And then I guarantee you what's going to happen. You're going to come away with a great education and a new friend. It's just what happens every time.
Yeah, I think to my audience, I'll say this. I think you see why I push Ironhawk Financial as hard as I do, because it is the one solid buffer you have in your favor to handle the stress that's coming. And trust me, it's coming. Warsh, when he was appointed to be Federal Reserve Chair, said, we're going to have to inflate away the debt. And he didn't say it in those words, but that was a process he described. 13 months earlier, Kevin Besant, the Secretary of the Treasury, said exactly the same thing. They're on the same playbook. People, they are coming for your assets to balance the debt. And the thing that you really need to look at doing is, and I can't promise you Ironhawk can help you, but give them a chance to evaluate your situation and see if they can help you. Because if they can, this is the best asset buffer you're going to have for the ravages that are coming over the next decade. Let's tell people how they can get in touch with you, dhhawk.com.
Yeah.
Just fill out the contact form. How long is it between the time that they fill out that form and you contact them?
As long as it's not at a time that is outside of their hours, honestly. So now I'll reach out to people on a Saturday and Sunday, but generally on the weekend I'll reach out by text because I don't like to be intrusive. but sometimes
Yes.
people are excited and they want to learn right away. So generally, as soon as I get their information come in, either myself or my small team that I've hand selected actually to reach out to your listeners in particular, will contact them within the hour, within the day, certainly no longer than 24 hours.
Okay.
So it's generally pretty quick. So yeah, dhawk.com. There's a couple of quick questions. There's a section that says, tell me about yourself. Fill that in, give us an idea of what you're looking for. And you're going to either, and I can specifically tell you, will either be called by me, Marianne, or Jason, who's the agent that we spoke of, or Kevin or Elisa. One of those four names are going to say, hi,
Right.
Mr. Customer. This is so and so.
Yeah, that's yeah, I got to tell you, I love Jason. He's awesome. Um, he's so easy
Great.
to talk to. He's so friendly and gregarious, but he's serious as a heart attack. This guy really knows his stuff. I had an in-depth discussion with him when we were at a joint appearance together at State Farm Stadium, and I came away really impressed with his expertise. Guy is really brilliant. And we're just here to help you, people. That's what we want to do. And this is why the show exists in the form that it does. Because I could be out right now getting ready to go for my morning swim, but we're on a mission here at the Common Sense Show, and we have joined forces with Iron Hawk Financial to try to help people. Marianne, it's been great having you on. Hang on just for a second after we disconnect. I wanted to ask you a question off air. And everybody else, thank you for joining us. God
You got
bless
it.
all of you. And this is, I think, really think you probably found this informative. And if you have more questions, just feel free to follow up. dhhawk.com is where you go. And we'll see you back here in the next segment. Thanks so much.